obviously about another class, but that's the idea. I
Okay.
put the title, I put some subtitles, and for each subtitles, I have to divide it. For example, about this vocabulary, I put some words that they are going to learn the vocabulary. Not everything, because it's going to be too big, but it's a well, it's a similar to a plot. Huh? It's very short, and not very short, but it obviously resumes everything. Okay, I put reading because I was thinking of practicing reading, but it depends, to be honest, on time. And I mentioned this because, for example, in fourth and fifth, you only have one block. It means
Okay.
approximately an hour and a half.
Okay.
It could sound okay. I have a lot of time, but remember this: from which second and so on, you have to check homework.
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, you explain, you use your surprising factor, you create this diagram tree, and then they have to copy. When they copy, you check your check the homework, check the homework, and put the score that they get.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
What else? Well, I didn't write this, but because it's only the idea for this guion is only to guide us to well to our class, but for example, if I have to think of this topic, I mean about simple past in for regular verbs, well, in that case, we have to create some, we have to use the notebook, sorry. We have to create some theory on the notebook. For example, when we use D, when we add ED, when we add IED, etc.
Okay.
Rules. So we have to write it to explain them in order to get them, familiar with this grammar.
Okay.
Obviously, then I have to use the book. I have to
Yeah.
use this to solve them, these exercises with them, and obviously the vocabulary. In this case, about transportation. You explained it. I found this. I found this more easier to explain.
Mm-hmm.
That's and if you have time, I mentioned this because, as I mentioned, as I stated, in fourth and fifth, you only have one block.
Uh-huh.
It could be a little bit difficult to do also reading.
Yeah.
And I mentioned because I had many problems by doing it. But in week number two, well, in week number two, we have this listening, we have this speaking,
Okay.
and this culture. As you can see,
Yeah.
this is going to be shorter. So week number two is shorter because
Yeah.
listening, you only have to take how many minutes? Maybe 10 minutes,
Yeah.
maybe 15 minutes.
Maximum that.
Yeah, you have to do your diagram tree for this. Obviously, we're gonna upload it. Don't worry, I'm gonna upload it too, in order for you that you can use it on your classes.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously here I am using reading this culture, and that's one of the objectives of the class of the school to make people read, make people learn to read.
Okay.
Some of them are going to get it. Some of them are not going to, unfortunately. But it depends how you can help them to do it. And I mentioned that we have simulacrums every week from week number one. But I mean, what you teach in number one, they are going to have a simulacrum about them in week number two, and
Okay.
so on until week number eight.
Mm-hmm.
And well, in week number eight, we have obviously what they saw in number seven.
Okay. I got it.
And for example, here, obviously the simulacrum in week number one is about grammar, about vocabulary. In week number two, we put some text, well, a text, and they have to they have to mark the correct answer because simulacrums are with alternatives. They have alternatives to
Mm-hmm.
or see it from them as they prefer.
Mm-hmm.
In the case of the exams, no, the exams they have to write. They have to write.
Okay.
That's why we practice writing on the exercises. Thankfully, this, sorry, thankfully, this book has many exercises, so that's not going to be a problem. But I would like to know, I wonder if you have any questions.
Yeah. Uh, so I like the class divides on three like stages, something like that, and also or maybe more could be, and I could understand that from fourth age and fifth age I only have one block that lasts 1 hour and a half. It's okay.
Yes, from first year to third year, they have the blocks. From fourth and fifth, they
One
only
block.
have one block. The blocks last approximately 1 hour and a half.
Okay. And you mentioned that I remember in the first like topic or it was like five or six kinds of vocabulary, and you mentioned that I only try to not do everything, but focus on at least three kinds of vocabulary or fourth because there are a lot of them. Mm-hmm.
Yes, if you, as I mentioned, if you in week number one, you
Mm-hmm.
can do vocabulary and grammar. Okay, if you can also develop the reading that you can see on page 51,
Mm-hmm.
wow, that's great. If you don't, you can keep it for the next class. Because
Mm-hmm.
as you could see, week number two we have listening, speaking. They are going to be very fast.
Mm-hmm. How do you like make these kinds of activities that are related with the speaking? Because for example, at Britannico, you have to a kind of short conversation with questions. Maybe you can know some of these activities. Is the same, or how do you make the speaking part with the students?
Well, it depends on the level of students, to be honest. Because well, about listening, well, you have some speakers on the classroom, so you can use it. No problem with it.
Mm-hmm.
The idea is that they can answer correctly the questions. About the speaking, well, in the case of the speaking, they listen first that too. Some speakings are, for example, in order to complete, they have to write what is the word that is missing.
Mm-hmm.
And then, if it's possible, they have create a very simple speaking similar to the topic that we can see on the speak. But it depends, as I mentioned, as I state, it depends on the level also. Because, for example, I teach in Pro, and well, to be honest, the level of them are not good, especially because they don't have some materials. But in the case of Cornell, you have the materials, so that's why it's easier for you to
Mm-hmm.
teach my part. And also, so many of them first. Well, I didn't know a lot about first year, but from second year, third year, fourth year, fifth year, well, some of them they have good levels, so it's possible to. Ah, by the way, in the first, no, in the first no, I mentioned that in week number 7, they
Mm-hmm.
have to present an exposition.
Yeah.
It's called project.
Mm-hmm.
You're familiar with it.
Yeah.
The idea, to be honest, the topic, I mean, I didn't say, okay, teacher, the topic is necessarily about this. Not necessarily. I have some ideas about project. But the idea, in general, is that they have to use, or they have to use what they saw on the classes.
Uh-huh.
Well, what they're going to do, they're going to see well, about the students from second year. They're going to talk about in this semester transportation, simple past. What else? Well, it continues transportation because it says travel. What else? Simple past again. And what else? What else do they see? History, discovery. Sounds like Christopher Columbus. Simple past again. So they are going to talk about simple past.
Like
They
all
mention
the bimester is going to be related with the simple past.
not necessarily because I see in vocabulary, for example, natural disasters.
Uh-huh. Yeah,
And what else?
I'm talking
Simple
about the
past.
grammar. But all the grammar for this bimester is going to be past simple, or they will learn all all other kinds of grammars?
I am checking this book.
Mm-hmm.
It seems to be that in second year,
Mm-hmm.
it's going to be all about simple past,
Ah,
regular,
okay.
irregular. But
Okay.
also they mention natural disasters. They mention transportation, travel. Maybe, for example, an idea. No, they can talk about a famous journey in history.
Ah, okay.
For example, that's an idea.
Mm-hmm.
For example, I can, so for example, because I have to create, well, sometimes I let them create their own groups, maybe of two, maybe of three. You have to say how many people in each group, approximately.
Mm-hmm.
Because for they are able to say, okay, 5, 6, 7. Wait a second, because if we create groups of 7, only one person or two people, or maybe three are going to work, but the
Or
rest,
there's yeah,
no.
it happens.
I established, okay, in this case, this project is going to be about 2 people or 3 people. It depends.
Okay.
And what
Perfect.
else? Sometimes could be individual. For example, imagine I don't teach in first year, but imagine, for example, the topic is about personal pronouns, and they have to introduce themselves. Well, that's individual, for example.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Or maybe it's about family. For example, they have to present their family tree. Well, that case, that's individual. And unless there are some siblings there, it's usually individual.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Okay.
What else? Well, in week number 3, we again use vocabulary, grammar, if it is possible, the text. I mentioned that especially for fourth and fifth year because only have one block. It's a little bit more difficult because you
Okay.
have to manage time. It's complicated.
Yeah. Oh, I have another question. When you talk about we help, or in the case of us, we like create activities related with the English exam admission. Uh, we create that activities, that kind of paper, because as I know, um, and this part of the admission exams, it have like readings that are in level B2. I could see in some cases when I was working in that institute or this academy for students who wants to apply for this kind of university. So I want to know, do you create the material or the okay, yeah, can you explain a little bit
Okay.
about it?
Again, I created the material. Thankfully, I created the simulacros from this bimester. The next year, the next bimester, you have to create also. But what is the idea? The idea is that those texts were from Macmillan.
Okay.
When you see this part in which says what is this material? When you enter and you see next to students' work and book, you also see it's the part that says test generator or extra activities.
Okay.
When you see that part, I see extra activities including grammar, including reading. I I get some ideas from that page in order to, for example, put extra exercises on the notebook in order to make them use the notebook. Is important because some parents can be very demanding about the idea of why aren't they using their notebooks? Why did I buy them if you're not going to use it? Stuff like that. That's why I sometimes make them use their notes. But as you can see, also you have no teacher resource center or the generator. From those, I get some ideas about how to write, about grammar. I have to explain grammar, or have to leave some extra exercises on the notebook, or when I have to create the text from the simulacrums. In this case, simulacrum number 2, simulacrum number 5, they have text. And obviously in the exam, they have text. But I try to create the exams this way. And it has 3 questions. One question is with many sub-questions about true and false.
Okay.
And the other two are, they have to write the answer back. They are literal questions. I mean, you find the answer on the text. It's not so complicated. Even though some students get trouble about trying to solve them, but it's on the text. One of these days I want to put an inferential question in order to make them think. But it's going to be like, I want to first, well, the literal questions, not so complicated. We're gonna continue because this book is new for us too. I mean, the last year we used other book for 2 years, and then we had to change them, and it's for some students could be defying because the level is different. It's higher.
Yeah.
That's why it could be. That's why it's necessary to have some patience with them. Have to be very patient with some of them.
Okay, excellent. So I will try to include in this kind of activities for, in the case of fourth and fifth year.
I want to ask something. Did they tell you that you're going to start this Monday?
Yeah.
So is it confirmed?
Yes. So that's. Tell me.
Can you please give me your number?
926 026. No, again, 92. It is my new phone number. 926. I'm sorry. I will say because I have changed my phone number. Yeah, I have changed my phone number.
Well, if you want, type it. Don't worry.
Okay. 926 340.
Okay. 926 304.
No. 926 340.
On the other way. Okay.
306.
This is what I understood. Wait a second. Is it correct?
Yeah. That is my phone.
Excellent. And your name is Reina. Reina
Salazar. Reina Salazar.
Reina, I have a question.
Tell me.
Don't you have a relative whose name is Franco?
Not really. No. I have never heard that name in my family.
Thankfully, thankfully. Because, well, I mentioned this because the previous teacher, Colonial, had that last name. And when the students see that last name, are going to ask you, you are related to the previous teacher or something like that?
No.
Because it's the same last name. That's why I asked you this. Because they are going to ask.
Yeah, I'm sure of that. Yeah, but no, that I've never heard that name of my family, so I don't know him.
Okay, that's, that could be, well, that's...
Yeah, it happens, I know.
Well, that's perfect. You know how to get to Trento Colonial.
Yeah, there is a bus that is called El Rápido. Maybe you have heard of this name. Yeah, this goes to Colonial Avenue, and I'm just going to walk like 4 or 3 blocks to arrive to school.
Yes, it took approximately 4 or 5 minutes when you get off the bus in Colonial Avenue.
Yeah.
Well, that's excellent. Well, try to surprise them well. Try not, please, to be absent.
No. I'm really sure about this job position, so I would like to just share all the knowledge and also.
Unless you get sick, in that case, try to call. What you can call me. You can call this meeting.
Yeah.
But it's, well, I mentioned it because it's going. Now we are in fall. In some months we are going to be autumn in winter. Many people.
Yeah, get sick. Yes, but in my case, I always try to keep a healthy life. So maybe this is going to help me a lot in order that not to be very sick on these days, right? Specifically on Monday and Friday.
That's magnificent. Magnificent. So, well, I would like to know if you have any more questions.
Yeah. Now I will like try to prepare the class like an order, and then maybe if it's possible, I will send you, and you can tell me, oh, Rina, that's all, everything's okay, or maybe you have to change some details.
Yeah, no problem. Well, my number is this. Can you write it?
Mm-hmm.
905.
I'm going to write again here. 905.
No, 915.
Okay, 915.
348.
Okay.
169.
Is it okay?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Perfect. Yeah. So the topic of for this Monday, it will be past simple transportation this, or I don't
was
know.
talking about only about second year, second year secondary, or well, high school. But to be honest, I don't know your schedule. Do you have your schedule?
No. If you can help me with it, it would be perfect.
Yeah, I will. Maybe have it. But if it's possible. That's a problem. It's possible that you have the same schedule of the previous teacher. The problem is that my cell phone was stolen 2 weeks ago, and I lost all the information I had on it, and I couldn't get it back. I'm sorry for me. So I don't have that schedule. I think if I have it, I'll send you. If I don't, and I think I don't. To be honest, I'm not sure because if it was, it's complicated for me to save when I don't have that file with me. Yeah, definitely I don't have it. I would like to, but unfortunately I don't have it.
Okay.
So I don't know exactly which classrooms do you have to teach on Monday and on Friday, but I would like to. Okay, I have to ask Miss Cecilia. Then Miss Cecilia is the manager of Colonial,
Okay.
or maybe me. I think it depends. Depends who can give it up. I will ask her if it's possible.
Yeah, because with that, like with the order, I think I will be able to know how to like create all the class for the session of Monday, or all the sessions of Monday and for Friday.
Rina, ¿verdad?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I thought one day, the last day, but I don't remember exactly. I think, as I recall, I think fifth of secondary is on Monday. Yeah, but only one block.
Okay.
I think it was first, second, third.
That is on Monday. What if you are supposing?
To be honest, I think. But I recommend something very strongly is that try to get along with them.
Mm-hmm.
If you teach in a way they understand, and you can be seen as someone who is fair but also flexible, someone that is comprehensible but also someone who is worried about how they knowledge, you're going to get their hearts. Depends. Some of them also would like to talk to you. Maybe they can create this rapport, this trust with you, and you are going to get them. It depends. Some of them, to be honest, are going to be, nasty. Yes, they can be very naughty, to be honest. I will not lie to you. Some of them, I want to kill them, but
No, don't say it.
one of these days. But most of them are good students, are good human beings. be honest. I have faith in many of them. not only not only for my subject, but also because of their behavior.
Yeah, it happens. Mm.
For example, let me check in. By the way, have you ever worked with someone who has, autism?
No.
Because a pair of them have autism. One of them is very, very, very intelligent. That person is going to notice if you make any grammar mistake or not.
Okay.
It's really good. So I advise you that you can try to not commit any mistakes. It's complicated because if you don't use it, you're going to lose it. But with them, try to not commit mistakes. If you, for example, you commit, because I made mistakes too,
Mm-hmm.
try to correct it. Try to correct it immediately.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, my bad. For example, other student, well, that person spends her vacations in England, so obviously her depth is very, very developed. And some of them, okay, they didn't, practice or see English except from the school, but they are very, very good at studying, so they're going to notice. Some of them, as I mentioned, are very destructive, but there are not a lot of them. Some of them, in every classroom, we have
Yeah,
one or two.
all the classrooms have this kind of students, but we have to find a way to deal with them, but in a kind way. I think that is the most
Yeah.
important part.
Exactly. For example, I don't know. I can say some names. For example, in second, Jordan is the one who has autism, but he really needs help because he has very low grades. So
Mm-hmm.
it maybe you should need more patience with him.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And in the case of third, Neymar. Neymar is distracted, but he knows he's smart, but he can be lazy. Yes, that's his problem. Fourth, Jericho makes a lot of noise, but he's possible to control it. Don't worry.
Okay.
Sometimes I would like to stroke him, but no, I will not do that. Who else? In fifth, maybe Lionel or Hector, but the rest are calm, are good students. They're going to present their homework. You will not have problem with it, especially because we're in second bimester, so everyone must have their books. Yep. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Another question?
No, I think that's okay. I just want to know which is the year that I'm going to start this Monday. Maybe fifth year, fourth year, third year. I want to know that, and then also I want to know which is the topic that I'll have to
If it's
start.
the same as I recall, if it's the same, you're going to see first, second, third, fifth on Monday.
First, second, third, and fifth.
Fifth.
Okay. On Monday. Okay.
As I recall well, I think it's that is the schedule.
The schedule. Okay. But the topics obviously are totally different because.
The topics are different, but you will notice that the pages are the same.
Okay. So the pages are the same, but the topics are different.
Exactly.
Okay. Pages same.
That's definitely different.
Topics different. Yeah. So I would like to know which is the topic for each year, and in order that I can create like a kind of guide or a guide paper to know how to start, then what it continues, and and how to finish.
Well, that was me.
Okay, yeah, I'm going to answer you, and also I will make you maybe more questions apart from what we have talked. I think that's all.
Yeah, as you can see in that web page about Macmillan, well, you find in every page 50
Mm-hmm.
start of semester.
Profesor.
So the order for this first week is...
Disculpe que lo interrumpa. Ya envié el horario a la Miss. Miss, le envié el horario, le llegó
A ver, lo voy a ver.
a su WhatsApp.
Sí, ya lo tengo acá. Ajá.
Ah, perfecto.
Ok. Bueno, me tengo que retirar, profe. Yo sé, allí, porfa, le pasé el tema, me imagino que ya le pasó el tema del libro.
Sí, yo le pasé la cuenta.
Ya todo conforme, ¿no?
Sí.
Bueno, igual, Reina, cualquier cosita, nos estamos comunicando. Bueno, te pediría que el día lunes, el horario es a las 8, pero te pediría que el día lunes va a llegar 7:40 para darte algunas indicaciones, ¿de acuerdo? Y pues apoyarte con algunas cositas, ¿no?
Ya, sure.
Cualquier cosita me escribe, igual profesor, cualquier cosita me escribe. Pero sí, bueno, le agradecería mucho que me acompañe a Reina durante esta semana por algunas indicaciones para que podamos iniciar con toda la energía el día lunes.
Sí, muchas gracias en serio nuevamente por la oportunidad y bueno, y ahí le voy a estar, disculpe profesor, le voy a estar molestando un poquito con las preguntas quizás extras que tengo. Y ya de ahí, sin nada más, yo creo que en una semana voy a poder adaptar y ya las siguientes ya van a ser menos preguntas.
No, bueno, pregunta lo que sea, para eso estamos. Yo sé que también el profesor va a estar ahí al pendiente. En la parte de logística, el tema de alumnos conmigo, el tema de cursos con el profesor. Bueno, lo importante es que te sientas acompañada y bueno, más que todo es la actitud, la postura. Quizás por ahí habrá algunas observaciones, ¿no? Para ir mejorando, ¿de acuerdo? Pero todo es en pro a crecer, ¿no?
Claro, claro que sí. Sí, muchísimas gracias a los dos por su tiempo y bueno, ya nos estamos viendo el día lunes. Profesor, muchas gracias por todas las indicaciones, me van a servir bastante para poder desarrollar las clases exitosamente. Muchísimas gracias.
Oh. Ok, gracias. Entonces estamos viendo próximamente.
Sí, hasta luego. Muchas gracias. Buen día a los dos.
Muchas gracias.
Hasta luego, gracias.